All right, guys, welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Khalif. This is the Real Hard Money Podcast. Before we jump into it, make sure you hit like and subscribe. It's free, doesn't cost you a thing. And if you do, Satoshi will bless you with more sats under your pillows. Okay. Today we have a special guest. I'm going to enjoy talking to this brother. It's actually his first podcast. It's actually the inauguration. It's the world premiere of a gentleman named the BTC Backpacker. Debt-free dad who lives Bitcoin, homeschools his 3 kids in sats and freedom. Ladies and gentlemen, Real Hard Money Podcast fam, welcome to the show. The BTC Backpacker. How you doing, sir?
We chilling. What's up?
All right. Yeah, man. It's your first time on the pod. That's great. That means it's going to be raw. It's going to be real. And that's what we want here. And we're going to just dive right into it. So tell us about your background and how you got into Bitcoin.
All right, bros. Check it out. Here's the deal. First of all, I wasn't in tune with the finances. You know, I was a fiat guy. I was into just thinking like, I got to work for the wage. You know, I got to work my 40 hours a week. I got to stack the dollar. And that's what the societal norm was. In regards to Bitcoin, I really didn't know what Bitcoin was. I'll be honest with you. And it's a little embarrassing, but it's humbling. I didn't really know what Bitcoin was until about late 2023. And I'm just like, I had a friend of mine that said, hey, do you know what Bitcoin is? And I was like, no, I don't know what that is. And I was like, I heard of cryptocurrency. So I got into, shitcoining, and which I think that a lot of Bitcoiners did. I would respectfully say a lot of Bitcoiners got into that. And so I started doing your ADA, your Ethereums, all that stuff. And, about 3 months into that, I stumbled upon a couple of podcasts and was like, nah, this isn't really the way. And then I got right into Bitcoin. It wasn't a slow transition from going from fiat to shit coins to Bitcoin. It was a pretty quick transition. Prior to cryptocurrencies in general, I was really learning like what the dollar was. Like, I didn't know anything. Like, I was so naive. And I was just thinking like, okay, work, do your 40 hours a week, buy your house, white picket fence, like just the typical stuff. And then, so I got into altcoins, started doing that for a while, and then realized, like I said, stumbled upon the podcast and then just got into it. I mean, it's really cut and dry for me for that. Some people will have these elaborate stories of how they did it. Mine was pretty straightforward. I was about $500 in at the time, which isn't bad compared to what most people have put in initially.
Right.
And then I realized like, I need to like dive deeper into this like Bitcoin thing.
Right.
Really, it was learning.
Why? Because you lost your money or it went down or what?
I was so naive even to that point where it wasn't even about like the highs and the lows of the dips. It was like really like I didn't realize how much I didn't know about the way the dollar worked. Like the way the dollar actually functioned. Like I was blinded. I was never taught that in school, which most of us weren't taught in school. And while most of us didn't have an elder or a specific individual to be able to teach us this when we were young.
Yeah, even our parents didn't know.
No, our parents didn't know. You know what I mean? Like I remember my mom's and pops, like my like it's a love-hate relationship with my parents because I haven't talked to them in like 16, 17 plus years. You know what I'm saying? For like reasons beyond Bitcoin. You know what I mean? Like, they were doing dope, they were doing drugs and stuff. You know what I mean? So like me and my wife, we grew up in a situation to where we were just trying to survive. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, hey, we were robbing fools, because that wasn't it. But we grew up in a situation to where we were just like, if you made the money, spend the money, buy whatever. And so we were never taught the principles of finances in general. And that's cool because that is what it is. Like, I can't change that. But as an adult now, as a father, as a husband, you know, when I circle back around to it, we're just breaking the chain. We're breaking the chain for our kids and everything. You know what I mean? We got 3 kids and whatnot, but we just weren't informed. And to a point, you could feel like we were cheated. You know what I mean? Like, we were put in a position to where, like, we were just supposed to be a statistic. And that's cool. Like, I'm not sitting here trying to say that I'm a victim or we are a victim, but we refuse to be a statistic or, you know, like, just continue to let it happen. And so we were very fortunate and lucky enough to persevere and to be able to move past that with our history and learning finances. So just a little background of my wife and myself is that we were neighbors. You know what I'm saying? And man,
you hooked up with your neighbor, the girl next door.
I'm gonna tell you straight up. I mean, it's like a boy meets world type thing. You know what I mean? Like, my wife is the best.
Like, literally neighbors, like literally the girl next door.
Bro, I'm serious. I lived here in a duplex, and she lived in like a flex next door. And I was introduced to her by my brother. Her and my brother were cool, like they were homies. And so I was off doing my own thing, and I looked at my brother and I said, "Hey, who's that?" And so my brother was like, "Nah, she's a homie. She'll never gonna hook up with you." And I looked at her and I said, "I'm gonna marry that girl." Straight up. So anyways, long story short, we end up vibing a little bit. I'm finding where she worked at. And, you know, we just kind of built a friendship. And we were both going through transitions in our life. She was having her stuff going on. I had some stuff that I had going on. And lo and behold, we became best friends. And we were together for about a year and a half. I ended up asking her flat out. I said, "Hey, do you see anything more?" And she looked at me and she goes, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, "Do you see anything more than just friends?" And she was like, "Yeah, I guess so." I mean, my balloon was filled and then it deflated.
Guess so.
And my wife,
that's romantic.
My wife is my rock, bro. My wife is my rock. My wife is the beginning of my life. And what's transpired from that has been just nothing but positive. It's been love, loyalty, friendship, and just building a family. Our kids, it was really the turning point of both of our lives. You know, in our 20s, we moved to Hawaii. So we ended up getting some property out in Hawaii. We ended up doing coffee farming in Hawaii on the Big Island, and we were coffee farmers. And prior to that, we were like flipping houses and kind of doing things like that. So in our 20s, I would respectfully say that in our 20s, we were in Hawaii kind of doing our thing. Hawaii is like 4 years behind everywhere else.
You think so? It's so expensive, I heard.
You know what? I mean, I was really grateful to have to be in a position to make fairly decent money in Hawaii and to be able to be sustainable, you know, with what we were doing. About 8 years after that, we had our kids there and everything. And so we were doing our thing in our 20s, just kind of going with it. And then my wife developed cancer. But when she developed cancer, it was a little expensive to live there and to have the medical care that they had at the time. It was just, they wanted us to move to Oahu, and it was just really expensive. So we end up moving back to the mainland, basically to Oregon, to live with my sister on her property. And so she ended up getting treatment over in Portland, Oregon area. And so that's where we were at there for about 4 years. And she was getting active chemotherapy and radiation treatment. So, you know, so I'm just spitting it to you like really quick in a nutshell of kind of like just the backdrop of like what's up. So yeah, life got turned upside down.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
grateful.
let me ask you, with those, by that time, were you into Bitcoin or not had touched it yet?
Bro, I had zero clue what even a cryptocurrency was.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, okay, you were going
And
through
that's
it
why I
with your
say
wife.
Hawaii was like, I'm seriously like Hawaii, being on Hawaii on the Big Island, which is one of the slowest islands. We're seriously like three years behind them. Like, it's like a real thing.
Really?
I lived in the country. I lived out in the middle of nowhere. I was
Okay.
like country living, farming,
Mm-hmm.
Hawaii lifestyle, like straight up.
Mm-hmm. Can you surf?
Hell yeah. I was able to,
Okay.
I was able to surf back when we were born and raised in California.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
so prior to that, I was bodyboarding, I was doing all that stuff, you know what I mean? And so when I went to Hawaii, it was just kind of like, you get a couple of wipeouts and then you figure it out. Oh, there's something over here called a reef. Yeah, you don't mess with that.
Sounds painful.
Yeah, man.
Scrapes, blood. But that's cool. So like, yeah. So where I was leading with that was, you get the financial struggles, especially in America. Hawaii's part of America. The medical industry there and how it works, it's just expensive. It's crazy expensive. And I was wondering how now, if you guys still battle these, with these illnesses, with the cancer, is that still an ongoing battle? And has your opinion or the way you approached it changed since you've been on a Bitcoin standard?
Yeah, man. So absolutely. So the cancer thing is a consistent thing. Technically, she's terminal, but as you well know, we're Buddhist Christians, which is very interesting. I believe in our time is our time. You know what I mean? We go with the vibe. It absolutely has changed the way we progress forward. Bitcoin has given us a sense of like, it's like a safety flotation device. It's given us a hope and a wish and a prayer that this is it. Like we're all in on Bitcoin, because once we started like diving deep into what Bitcoin is and all the technicals about it, we're like, this is where it's at. Because when we were putting our money, we were just putting it in a savings account like anybody else. We were just like, put the savings account here, whatever we can save. We weren't investing. It was just in a bank savings account. It's given us an opportunity to be able to grab onto something, and it gives us hope, because it's not about us. It's about our kids. We know it was never about us. Once we decided to have kids, it's given us hope to know that we can give something to our kids for the future, because we're living in a fucked up world. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, and that's a whole nother rabbit. I don't know how deep you want to get into that, but that's a whole nother rabbit hole. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the whole, like, the world is the protest and the madness, and Charlie Kirk just got shot, right?
Man,
and that's it's
today.
Just madness. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I was emotional. I was crying, and I'm not afraid to say that. It hit me, dude.
It was shocking. I was shocked and appalled and disgusted, to see his family, little babies he's leaving. I know that hits home for you. You got two little girls too,
I got two girls, 9 and 8, and then a 13-year-old boy.
Yeah. And I don't agree with everything Charlie Kirk says, but nobody should be shot and killed for voicing an opinion.
Absolutely.
And also, my heart just breaks for the wife and the two kids. You know what it is to be a father, and you
That's
just even think not even being there for a week, and then just not being there at all anymore. It's just it's heartbreaking. But in this world of very dystopian future it's leading down with the CBDCs and the autocracies that are coming up, and the injustices just seems to continue to pile on, and things like AI taking jobs and the job report not looking good, and France is collapsing, and UK is collapsing, and the violence, the woman from Ukraine got stabbed on the train, and, things like this happen, but it just seems like to be like a confluence of like all these things happening at the same time, time of great change. I don't know if you're familiar with the book, The Fourth Turning.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a real thing. You know what I mean?
So I think that's happening. So with all of that happening, how do you feel with Bitcoin? Like, does holding Bitcoin make you feel any way with all of this madness in the world?
Absolutely. I mean, you hear the term Bitcoin fixes this, right? And I think that's a little cliche because it's so subjective, right? Yeah, Bitcoin fixes this. I think Bitcoin fixes a lot of things. I don't think Bitcoin fixes everything. I do think that money is the root of all evil. I would think that most people believe that because it's the determination of how it determines on what you are. Right? It's like, oh, you make X amount of dollars. Well, you only can afford this much. And then you have institutions, corporations, and nations that can just kind of control and dictate, what your fate is going to be. And I'm like, what's up with that? You know what I mean? Like, and I never believed that initially, but once I started diving deep into it, I was like, okay, it's kind of a thing.
So Bitcoin is money. Does it change your opinion about money being the root of evil?
I agree that it's money because it's a peer-to-peer. I go back to the white paper. It's a peer-to-peer transactional based thing where I can go to you. I'll give you value for value. We can exchange and we're off and we're going our different ways. Right. The thing that Bitcoin does is it allows us to have a finite asset to be able to transact with one another that's not controlled by institution, corporation, nation, states, or whatever you want to call it. That's the key. The key is the most beautiful thing about Bitcoin is its finiteness. That's number one. Then we can go down the list of going to the halvings and, the whatever. It doesn't matter. You can go down the list, but the key to it is the 21 million. That's the key. And the fact that we own and control that's it. I try not to see the thing with me is I try not to get into the whole Clark Mooney dashboard and we're doing when we're at 19 point whatever million given. I don't allow that to kind of dictate and control my overall aura of the future, because it's so easy to get caught in tokenomics and let me go chart Bitcoin, and I don't waste my time with that. I don't have time to do that.
Yeah.
I don't. I think of the psychological aspect of it, and I take my life and my situation and I think about how can I tie this into Bitcoin? How can I tie this into culture? How can I tie this into everyday life? How can I tie this into not allowing Bitcoin to control my life, but how I can roll Bitcoin into the way I treat my kids, the way I treat other people, the way I do my work, you get what I'm saying? I'm more into the psychology of how Bitcoin can change my mind, and I can roll that into my life.
Excellent.
That's it, dude. I'm the least technical person there is.
No, that's great. That's what we like to hear. So real talk, you paid off your house and cars thanks to Bitcoin, was it? And what was the moment it hit you that Bitcoin was legit life-changing, not just another asset?
So here's the crazy thing. I paid off my house prior to Bitcoin. I was a Dave Ramsey guy. I was about to
and then Ramsey don't like Bitcoin.
That's the ironic thing, right? So check it out. I was working 7 days a week in my 20s. I said, I'm young. I should be working. At the time, I only had one kid, and then the second one, we had our second child rolling out. But I was young. I said, I got this energy. Let's bust it. She's working 2 jobs. I'm working 2 jobs. We're jamming. We paid our house off in cash. In Hawaii, we were able to basically get our house paid off in cash. And then with Dave Ramsey's economics in regards to, or his ideology in regards to, no debt, we kind of just enrolled that and instilled that into our life. We didn't buy the house until we moved back to the mainland. After we found out she had cancer. When she had cancer, 3 months prior to that, we pulled the trigger on the house. So the timing was just impeccable. We bought the house in cash, this and that. We were planning on moving back to the mainland. And then when all that was kind of basically going through like an escrow period, when they were building it and all that, then we found out. Once that happened, we were put in a position where we had a pretty good nest egg of fiat money where we were going to buy some land. Well, we never ended up buying the land, but we bought our house, which was the more important thing because the house is towable. We can bring it anywhere we want because it's a tiny house on wheels. And so we end up buying the house, thank God, because if we bought a house on land, we would have been screwed because that would have been gone. I couldn't afford everything that was involved with buying a house on land. So we bought our house for about like $80K. Paid for it outright in cash. They built it. We bought it over in Oregon. And in Oregon, they don't have sales tax. And we did that for a reason. I was like, if I'm paying $80K, I'm not going to pay sales tax. Like, so I'm going to go buy it over there. And so we lived in our tiny house and we fought that early battle with her cancer with all that heavy chemo and radiation within our tiny house. The tiny house bought us financial freedom, right? Because most people are paying $1,500, $2,000 worth of rent. You get what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
we were paying just a couple $100 in lot space.
Right.
Oh, absolutely.
And so then later, did you start funneling some of that into Bitcoin?
Yeah. So
when was the
later
moment like you really got into Bitcoin?
So the moment we really got into Bitcoin was really, so that was all like pre-COVID. I didn't get into Bitcoin until like 2023.
Right.
Yeah. So we went through this whole period of like just diving into her cancer stuff. When we relocated to Idaho, which we're at now, that's when we started getting into like things started tapering off. We started getting like kind of a normal, a new sense of normal of life. And that's when I told you that a friend of mine had brought it up to me. And I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And that's just when I went down the rabbit hole on like just learning about the dollar. And like, I didn't know what interest was. Like, I really didn't know. Like, I didn't know what the CPI. I mean, I'm serious. I was like a complete greenhorn.
There's no shame in that. That's what they want. They want it to be kind of like obfuscated, to be covered up, to seem like we can't understand it. That's just that big financial global system out there. Like, they don't want us to know that you're losing purchasing power, right? Year after year, year over year. They don't want us to know that the last 100 years, the dollar's lost 99% of its purchasing power over 100 years. Like, even over COVID, I think it's lost like 50%. I didn't know until I got to Bitcoin. And I think that's very similar for most Bitcoiners. Like that journey, our journey, it's kind of like a mind-blown epiphany. Like we've been living like this. Imagine if we knew and we had Bitcoin when you were, 12 and you mowing lawns when you were 12 and you saved it in Bitcoin. Right now, you'd be set. You'd be like, I do what I want to do instead of what I have to do. Like, imagine if you were 12 years old saving Bitcoin.
And that's
whatever little increment it was, it would be enough for you to live on today.
Nah, bro, exactly. I mean, it's fucking crazy because like, that's another reason why we homeschool our kids. You know what I mean? Like the cancer was a curse, but a blessing because it's allowed us to homeschool our children. She's at home. She can't work. So it's allowed us to take our kids out of the TradFi traditional brick and mortar school of indoctrination bullshit and allowed us to be able to teach our kids about economics, finance, and not conforming to the way the system is. Because the system's fucked up. It's bullshit. It's a complete lie. It's the biggest Ponzi scheme beyond the dollar. We are told to be able to wake up at this time, go to work at this time, come home at this time. And it's like rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And we refuse to allow that to be in our kids' life. Hey, check it out. Whatever happened to me happened. That's cool. But my job as a father and her job as a mother, our job is to be able to break the chain and tell these kids like, hey, there's more to that. My kids know so much about Bitcoin. We have dedicated time to Bitcoin schooling throughout the week because I think it's that important for them. And it's going to put them that much more ahead of their peers. You know, so my kids, like, they're on Nostr. They're not on Nostr exactly, but they're on Nostr under me. Like, I'll post videos of them. I'm hitting up American Hodl. I'm hitting up like whoever, and my kids are posting videos of this stuff and they feel great about it. And that's what it's about to me.
I saw that American Hodl, he shouted your daughter out on one of his vlogs.
Yeah.
What was that about? What was the shout out about?
So the shout out was she took one of his videos, and I don't remember on what podcast it was on. I think it was on Walker's podcast. And he did a thing where it was like, don't, you got to brown bag your lunch. If your car's not old enough, then, it was like, whatever. It's like, you're not stacking hard enough. You're not stacking hard enough. And so my daughter saw that and she was like, Dad, like, I want to do that. And I said, what? And she's like, yeah, I want to do that. I said, okay, well, let's do it. So we were driving into one of our doctor's appointments in the car on the highway. I put the phone in the back seat and I record her, and she's just like going off. She's just like, boom, 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 boom. And I was surprised because she knew every single word of what it was. I had a like proud dad moment. I was just like, I'm like, is this real? I said, okay, cool. I congratulate her, posted on Nostr, tag homie. And I'm like, hey, check it out, bro. Like, my daughter, did what, whoop, whoop, whoop. And he hit me back. And prior to that, we had never had an engagement, me and him.
Yeah.
And he goes, that's great, this and that. And he goes, I'm going to give her a shout out video and this and that. And so it was a couple of weeks. Hey, I get it. He's busy. He's doing his thing. And about 2 to 3 weeks later, he did a little shout back at her. And that shout back changed all my kids. It was a big deal. Sorry, I'm getting emotional.
The energy change, vibration lifted up. Huh?
My kids seen that, and that what he did and taking that 5 minutes out of his life made a big impact on my kids. And I thank him for that. And it may be something small, but it was a big thing. And it meant so much to me, and it meant so much to my girls and my son. My son's a little more shy. I can't thank him more for that because he hears mom and dad. They hear mom and dad doing our thing every day in and out. But when they felt that was a game changer, and that hit a spot with me. So
yeah, that touched me right there. I feel that all the way over here in Thailand. He's a real one, man. He's a real one. Seems like he's a good dude. And he's even like reached back to me. And I'm like, my little podcast is nothing compared to anybody's else following, honestly. But we don't compare each other. It's just that feeling of like real camaraderie and real community here on Nostr. It's like a real thing, right? It's like you can feel it. It's tangible.
Absolutely.
There's not airs of like, I'm a Bitcoin celebrity. I don't have time to
it's
reach
not
back.
Fiat. It's not fiat.
It's not fiat world. It's not fiat world, So that's what I love about it. That's what I love about it, especially on Nostr.
Now, Nostr's been a game changer for me. I'm a primal user specifically, but Nostr and whole, right? Nostr has given me a whole new sense of community, of communication. Even my wife is on it, now with posting her food videos. I was posting her food videos before, but she finally got on and I explained to her that you have a purpose, you have a place in this community because you are a Bitcoiner. And I said, post your food content because that's value. And she's doing it now. And I'm proud of her for that. And it's cool because as a husband and wife, that's awesome. Usually I hear always one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
But I got my wife and my kids. We're a Bitcoin family.
That's awesome.
A lot of that. I think it's rare.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's been great. It's been awesome. Nostr has, man, it's been revolutionary.
We need that. It's like we're building this new world, right? This new Bitcoin world where things aren't based on the fiat system where people have to lose. But on this side, Bitcoin, everybody that adopts wins, right? It's a better world. And in this world, it's like we're traveling to another planet, right? And on this new world, we need a farmer. We need somebody with the food like your wife. We need a plumber. Hey, you know what? We need a Bitcoin electrician guy, right? We need that regular, we need the Bitcoin car wash dude.
Absolutely.
Everybody doesn't have to be like macroeconomics and all that stuff like that. We need, we need the Bitcoin car wash guy. You know what I'm saying? We need the Bitcoin janitor. We need his story. We need your story. We need my story. We need everybody's story. We need everybody's little bit of know-how tweaked to build this new world where we all move into and live together. It's a better over here.
We're so grateful to be in this time. We're talking about, we're in the Windows 95 era of technology.
Yeah.
People are going to look back on these videos. People are going to look back at these podcasts. They're going to be like, man, these guys are crazy. They were sending each other hundreds or if not thousands of zaps at a time. They're going to look at us like we are wild.
You sent them 5,000 sats for a meme?
What the fuck are you thinking? But you know what?
Yo, crazy.
That's dope.
That's dope, right?
This is the first time in history we've been able to front run the institutions.
Preach.
We have not in the history of time been able to front run the corporations, the big companies, the governments, the states, the countries. What? And you know what? At the end of the day, if I don't get to reap the rewards, like I said earlier, of what we're doing, I'm okay with that because we're going to be in the history books. That's a real thing, bro. Straight up.
I think so too. Yeah, man. So, you were canceled before. You were canceled somewhere else. So how does that work with, where were you canceled and how does that make you feel about Nostr and like a censorship resistant platform?
Bro, check it out. So yeah, I'm the fucking guy. I don't care. I say shit and it is what it is, dude. Like YouTube don't like me and that's cool. I don't give a fuck about YouTube. You know what I mean? Like I got a homie and he's my boy, dude. Jerry loves freedom. I got Jor 88 Stats Radio. Yes, a slight shout out. But these guys here have given so much love to me and my family that I gotta give them. I gotta give them some love. I like the idea of having a YouTube channel, but it's not gonna work because I get canceled for the shit that I say. I'll post a video, cancel it. Post a video, cancel it because I say things that's against their bullshit ass agenda. You know what I mean?
You could just post it here, baby.
This may get a little political and it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, I'm like a Republican Democrat. I'm fucking pro-America. I'm team humanity. I'm team fucking common sense. You know what I mean? Like, straight up, I'm not a Democrat. It is what it is. Like, sorry, it's just the way it is. Like, I did a little bit of the X, and X is cool. I had to create a couple of different accounts just to keep on X, because get canceled, get banned, whatever, like, fuck them. Like, they're going to sit there and say it's like free speech, but it's like bullshit. So, and I don't go on Rumble because Rumble doesn't have enough audience engagement. Like, it's just like flatline there. You don't get nothing. Like, you can post on Rumble and it's like, I might as well just be on Nostr. Like, why am I going to be on Rumble for? At least I'm with like-minded people. You know what I mean? That's the reason why Nostr has been able to give me something that no other platforms be able to give me. It's like, if you're Bitcoin, you're Nostr. Like, that's flat ass. Like, so the issue I have with YouTube obviously is censorship. Just like everybody knows, just like you know, it's like you can't say shit. I got to tippy toe around things. I'm not about that because I don't have time to like just fluff shit up. Now with X, same thing. We're free speech, we're this and that, but heaven forbid you put some like certain word in a post and it's like, oh, you're going to get flagged. It's the same thing. Controlled, centralized fucking nonsense. So the thing, when I found Nostr, I was kind of like, let's see what this is about. And so I got into it and I was posting stuff and it was just allowing me to do it. And I was like, okay, this is cool. And that's kind of where it fell, dude. Like, I just don't like when it's not free speech if I can't say something. You know what I mean? Like that's it. Like, it's just cut and dry.
Yeah,
like,
I agree. That's why I feel like we just need to keep building on Nostr because people don't even know about it. The wave is going to come just like the wave came for YouTube itself. And the wave comes for all those social platforms. But sooner or later, just like the wave is not even here for Bitcoin. We're still super early. Like, we didn't do the whole banana zone, S-curve stuff yet. We didn't do that for adoption yet. I think we're pre-95, like you said, pre-95 internet. Because to me, I grew up, I lived it. I went to college 95. So I didn't have a computer in my house. I had to go to the university to have a computer. So I remember all the dial-up noises, you know, things like that. And this is a very early wave with Nostr. I think we could all build our communities and they can't take it away from us. We could all build our followership and our brand and our likeness, and it's ours, and we could take it wherever. And maybe Primal is cool now, but there'll be another client for Nostr that's even cooler, and we can take our followers to that client. And you know, and so on and so on. And everybody that ever uses Nostr will be able to see our post on all these different clients. You can't say that for all these other social media platforms. And it's going to be, they're going to get blown out the water, in my opinion, because it's just better. It's just better. And, you know, things happen like the Charlie Kirk situation, or the, you know, Ukrainian woman that passed away, was murdered brutally. These things don't happen in a vacuum, and people express raw emotions, and some things are censored. They don't even want to talk about these things on the mainstream media. But, you know, yeah. Kirk, they definitely have to with Kirk, because he was alternative, but he was like one of the most popular alternative media guys. Yeah. Right under Tucker, probably. So it's like anybody that champions freedom of speech, that's the home. No, Nostr is the home. Anybody that champions freedom of speech, Nostr is the pure form of that. And it's what X pretends to be, right? Because if Elon doesn't like what you're saying, he's gonna change it up. If Elon doesn't like what Grok is saying, when Grok turns to Mecha Hitler, he don't like that, and they change it up real quick.
It all just comes back to decentralization. You know what I'm saying?
It all comes back to decentralization. Yes. So when you said 21 limit, I was like, yes, but it doesn't matter if they could control it. So it's like the fact that decentralization has to be, it's so many great, beautiful chef kiss. It's the decentralization. It's the hard 21 million limit. It's the, you know, it's the fact that you can't confiscate it, right? It's the fact that I don't need permission from anyone to use it. It's the fact that it's censorship resistant, but it's like one doesn't work without the other, but like it's the whole thing that it's outside the system and it's decentralized. I think that might be the revolution, because everything else is downstream from that. Because the whole point is they can't control it. That's the whole point. And then everything else is downstream from what can't they control? Well, they can't stop me from sending my man BTC Backpacker some sats. They can't stop it.
Dude, it's liberation. Like, you know what I mean?
It's
like
liberation. And I try to tell my friend, like, that Bitcoin is freedom, a tool for freedom. He's like, man, you're talking too religious about it. Like he doesn't get it. But I was like, one day you'll get it, man. One day you'll get it. But you don't get it now, but one day you'll get it.
Yeah, I mean, like the thing is, like, everybody gets Bitcoin at the price they deserve. Like, I get that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I do, I
Mm-hmm.
get it, and I understand that it's important for us to be able to like spread Satoshi's word and be able to orange pill or whatever with people. Like, I get that. Like, it is important. You know what I mean? But at the same
All right,
time, we
so
have to also accept the fact that if we're ahead of everybody else and we are the 1%, 2%, 3%, we're just, we're got to be grateful.
yeah. So let me ask you, there's like the controversy with the spam on the network, Bitcoin network and op return and the core devs versus the knots guys, knots versus core dev controversy. Where do you stand with that?
So check it out. So like I told you earlier, I don't get into too much of the technicals, but
Mm-hmm.
obviously I do believe in doing my due diligence. And like I stated earlier as well, or like within at least, pre-talk and prior to this, was that I don't run a node. I'm not at that point yet. I'm not opposed to it. I'm just not at that point yet. I don't like the nefarious things that are going on with core. I do tend to side on knots a little bit more. And I'm a Matthew Cratter guy personally.
Me too.
That guy is just, I'm like, who are you, bro? Like, are you like his cousin? And so based off of Cratter's videos and stuff, and my homie Jor and Jerry, I just got to side with more of the knots because I don't believe in like the spam thing and bloating the blockchain and putting nefarious things within there that don't need to be. It's like, if I have to like zoom out and look at the bigger picture, my whole thing is like this. If it ain't broken, don't fix it. If it works, why are you messing with it? Leave it alone. And I do feel like there's bad actors within core. I do feel like, and this comes to my political side of kind of just where I stand in general. Like, I think that there's some people that are in the core team that have been possibly put in there that are maybe doing the nefarious actions and kind of trying to, run game on the system, because we need to understand, and we can't forget that greed is still a thing.
Power lust.
And don't get me wrong, dude. Like, don't get me going down the BlackRock thing. Like, I think having BlackRock come into the scene and do their thing is like, I think it's a blessing and a curse, because absolutely it made things like, whoa, Bitcoin, what's that? Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, okay. Which is cool. But hey, we're not cool. We're not homies. I'm not inviting you over for Friday nights to have like drinks with funny names and umbrellas on them. Like, nah, we're not homies. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not cool. And I think a lot of people kind of get that confused, where, well, take what they're doing, but keep them at a far.
Remember who they are and what they are.
Straight up, because
right? Yeah.
We need to stay humble and go back to the fiat mindset sometimes and understand that although we're in the Bitcoin mindset, we need to go back to the fiat mindset sometimes and understand that these guys are all about money, greed, power. That's it. They don't give two fucking shits about us. 100%. We're nobody. That's all I'm saying.
1,000%. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. The thing for me is that's the beauty of it. So that goes back to, they don't control it, right? They think they're getting in and, but really they're getting Trojan horsed. They're getting some medicine in with the dog food, right? You know how you feed your dog with the dog food, with the pill inside, right? So, but they're coming for the greed, and then they're going to have to stay for the revolution, because once you get attached to it, once it becomes too big to fail, right? Too big to fail. It doesn't matter anyway, because it benefits. If Larry is buying, if BlackRock is buying, it's pumping your bags. If Michael Saylor is buying, it's pumping your bags. If people copy Michael Saylor, copy his playbook, it pumps his bags, right? Everybody wins. There's never been anything like this where everybody benefits no matter what, as long as they adopt. All you have to do is adopt. And it's really, I say ball with them or fall victim. It's adopt or die with Bitcoin. And that's just how I feel, like on some real, like Max Kaiser-ish, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Max Kaiser is hard.
He hard, right?
But these guys don't like us. These guys don't like us. Dude, I can't even I can't even explain it. We're a fucking threat to their the whole goal of what they're doing.
Yes. The whole outlook. Well, the whole outlook is for them is dominance and to maintain control. That's why they are scared of centralization, and CBDCs are the fake out, the head fake, right? The CBDCs is really just more control, but they position it like they kind of orange wash it to make it like, oh, it's kind of like Bitcoin. We're moving into the future. No, it's a panopticon. It's nanny state. It's 1984 Orwellian stuff that we talk about. But I got a few more questions for you.
Yeah.
I don't want to hold you too long, and then we're going to get into something really cool. You still got some time for us?
I got as much time as you want.
Okay. I like it. All right. So has Bitcoin changed how you think about work, money, reinvestment, or even running your business?
Oh, straight up, dude. So check it out. Here's the deal. So I mow lawns. Straight up. Okay. I mow lawns. That's what I do.
Yeah.
I don't work for a corporation. I mow lawns for a business. I deal with my clients one-on-one. I send invoices out. I do the work. I do the financing part of it and everything. Straight up. I'm very blessed to be in a position that I'm in. I've been doing this for about 18 years. I've been doing it for a long time from Hawaii and then transferred it over here to Idaho. So I do my lawn thing. The proof of work aspect, absolutely. As far as a mindset goes, it's actually eased a lot of the work I do. It makes me feel like when I do this work for these clients and their relationships I've established with them, it's actually helping me stay humble. Literally stay humble. Now, yeah, they're not paying in Bitcoin. Yeah, they're not sending me zaps for payments. They're still sending me fiat. And that's cool. I'm not opposed to that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to lose business because they don't want to send me Bitcoin or sats and everything. I have thought about adding that option to my invoices. But
you should.
I'm thinking about it. I told my wife about it. You know what I mean? So
you never know who's holding, right? And there's features where you can accept other crypto or other ish coins.
No, absolutely.
And we can
convert them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in regards to just the overall proof of work aspect of it, yeah, it has. You know, it's allowed me just to understand that instead of thinking about we're working for the corporations, I'm working for myself, and I'm happy, and I am engaged with my client, and I'm giving a value for value. I'm giving a valuable product in regards to the work that I do and the care that I take for them. And then, and they're giving me a income back to support my family. So it's nothing too exciting, but it is a genuine humble outlook. And with my psyche, with Bitcoin, it has I feel like I've actually put in more work to what I do out of respect to myself and understanding that the value for value, how we think with Bitcoin,
right?
I'm able to just extend that to my clients.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Tell us one quick orange peeling success story and the real impact that it had.
So I was down in Oregon at the time. I'm in Idaho now, right? So I was down in Oregon at the time. And so me and my wife and kids were visiting my sister down there. And we're in the kitchen cooking because, my wife loves cooking. And so I told my sister, I said, hey, do you have Bitcoin? And she's like, well, I know about it, but I don't really have it. I don't know how to get into it. And I was like, do you want to? And she's like, yeah, sure. Why not? And so my wife's in the kitchen cooking. Kids are running around crazy like chickens with their head cut off. And so my sister, I said, okay, let's set you up with a wallet first. So I set her up with a wallet. I think I set her up on Coinos initially. Coinos wallet. Because Wallet of Satoshi was banned in the US, right? And so I set her up on a Coinos wallet. And I said, send her up a Coinos wallet. And I said, hey, I'm just going to send you some sats. Because she knows what Zelle and Cash App was. Because she does that a lot. I knew she did that. So I said, let me use that to my advantage. And so I set her up with it. And then I said, okay, I'm going to send you some sats real quick. So I do it right in front of her. I'm like, bing, 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 punching all these numbers in. Send it to her. And it's like, boing. And she's like, what? And I was like, yeah. I said, what do you think? And she's like, that's hella cool. And I was like, you want to know what's even cooler? is that you didn't have to ask nobody. I said, that's from me to you. I said, I didn't have to go to a bank. I didn't have to wait. I didn't have to ask for permission. I said, sis, let's say I fix your toilet. Maybe I had to like do some plumbing and I send you some sats real quick. And she was like, so like nobody has to know? I said, no. I said, that's between me and you. She's like, what? And so that's been it. That was it, dude.
It's powerful.
And every once in a while,
yeah.
I'll just shoot her some sats just to kind of like, so she'll receive something and it might be like, you know, light bulb type stuff.
Ding. Yeah, 5 sats, 10 sats.
Yeah.
And then it's cool when it's like, there's a run up in the price and then they're like, this $50 turned to $100, you know, light bulbs start going off.
I'm telling you.
All right. So sometimes we talk about like price predictions, but I'm not really a price prediction guy, but I would say like, you know, family, right? Like it's important. So like in 5 to 10 years, what's your biggest hope and your biggest fear for your family with Bitcoin?
Oh, you laying it on, huh? You know how that price prediction question goes. That's like a loaded gun.
It is loaded gun.
Right,
so
check
like,
it out.
what's your biggest fear and your biggest hope for your family with Bitcoin?
So because I don't have a short-term mindset, I have no fear. Straight up. I have zero fear. If that thing dropped down to 50,000, I'm just buying more. I wouldn't lose any sleep over it. Straight up. That's number one. In regards to where it's going to go, I'm going to show you real quick. Hold up. I don't know if you can be able to see it, but we have this little whiteboard we do for school. And we have up here, we drew up with all the kids, just little price prediction.
Mm-hmm.
So for me at the time, and this was about a year ago, you know, this might change a little bit. I had 185,000 at the time for this cycle, which I think it was substantially lower than what I think it can go. So, and you know, and everybody had their price predictions in between. You know, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a long haul guy. I'm not gonna sit here and say like Bitcoin's gonna go to $1 million by like December. I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm just not. Like I'm a realist. You know what I mean? Like I think if I had to give you a prediction by December 31st of where Bitcoin's gonna go, if we get to 500,000, I'll be happy. Because I think that building Bitcoin in a stair-step style with building new floors and new grounds and new base layers as we go up, I don't think that Bitcoin going up real fast is a good thing. I think building up in incremental value is more beneficial to Bitcoin in regards to like stability, opposed to it just shooting up to like $1 million and then like what retraces back down to like 200,000.
Yeah, 80% crash again. I don't think we have these 80% crash bear markets.
I don't think so either.
My question is more like with your family though, like what's your biggest hope? How would it affect your family? Like if it really does all the things that we think it can do, and what's your biggest fear? Like, well, you know, what if it doesn't do those things?
I'm going to be honest. It's not going to do those things. I don't have a fear. I really don't, because we are that convicted. If it does,
so be it. So be it.
Then it is what it is. Like seriously, that's what it is. Like we openly talk about this. Then it is what it is. Because even if we invested in something like a stock or a bond or an ETF or a high yield savings account, whatever, we're getting like what, 4 or 5, 10%.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's fantastic. Great.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Then if it doesn't get to where it needs to be at, then I've lost all sense within the financial system in general.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, you know, if we're doing something good, like if this is the good thing, the other thing is the opposite of good. So I'd rather go out on my shield for the good thing, fighting the good fights,
bro, straight
instead of being part of this matrix machine. And like, this is fine, you know, like the dog burning in the house.
It's the only fucking saving mechanism ever. This is it. This is the last
this
straw.
Is it.
This is it. And people are like, well, what if it fails? And what if this and that? And the internet goes out and whatever. And I'm like, bro, stock up on guns, ammo, food, and water and get ready for the show. Because that's it.
Yeah, you got bigger problems to worry about.
Bigger problems.
All right, BTC Backer. We now come to the part of the show we call the lightning round. Chow. Right? So it's basically just like the Lightning Network. All transactions are lightning fast and final, right? So we answer quick, whatever comes to your mind, and we keep it moving. All right? You ready? You locked in?
Let's do it.
Okay. Fiat is theft. True or false?
Facts.
Facts. Okay. Bitcoin or gold? One for your kids. Which one you picking?
Bitcoin. Gold is a lie.
Is a lie? What happens if we have the apocalypse?
Get your guns ready.
Okay. Homeschool or public school?
Homeschool. Public school's indoctrination.
Ooh, they're not ready for that.
They ain't ready for that.
Orange pill everyone or keep it private?
Orange pill. Share the love. Spread the word. Keeping it private, selfish. Proof of work,
Okay.
baby.
Okay. So once you paid off the house, do you hodl, or do you enjoy the fruits of your labor?
Oh, you hodl. Life don't
Hodl?
stop.
Okay. All right.
It's not about us. It's about my generation next.
Okay. That's what I'm about. Nostr greater than Twitter, censorship resistant, or echo chamber?
Nostr,
Like
spread the word.
Yeah.
With flight, subjective. I think you got to spread the word a little bit, but stay in Nostr and build.
Okay. Teach sats or teach stocks? One choice.
Because Bitcoin is sat.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Okay, Bitcoin maximalist. Is it a cult or is it conviction?
Absolute conviction.
Should governments ban Bitcoin for our safety?
Hell no.
Give your kids the keys now or later?
Absolutely later.
Yeah, they're too young, right? They're too young. I like to ask this one, just left ball out of nowhere type of question, but it's been popping up all over the news, man. And I just watched Space Odyssey 2001 last night. So are aliens real or what?
Dropping the sauce, huh? You know what? I believe. I'm a believer. I'll say it. I'm out there. Yes, I'm a believer. Aliens are real and Bigfoot might be a thing.
Dude. Was that X-Files, right?
Yeah.
Let's see if I got one more for you. MSTR, Michael Saylor. Genius or madman? Dangerous for Bitcoin?
I don't buy it. I'm the guy. I don't buy it. I'm Bitcoin only.
Okay. All right. There you have it. The lightning round with the BTC Backpacker in full effect. Yeah. Wasn't so bad, right?
Nah, man, this is good. It's a walk in the park.
All right, that'll do it. Thanks so much for coming on the show, BTC Backpacker. Much love to your wife. Tell your wife I said hello, and your kids. I'm sure I will see you on Nostr. I know you're Nostr only basically right now, for now. And I know you do plan to have some kind of podcast or a content coming out. Let them know where they can find you and keep up with you.
So it's going to be BTC Backpacker on Nostr, and it's going to be BTC Fanny Packer for my wife on Nostr. As far as content goes, we might keep it Nostr initially. We might try to venture out YouTube a little bit, but we know they like to censor people, and we're not about censorship. So we'll see how far that goes. But that's where you can find us.
Awesome. And that'll do it. I'm Khalif. That's BTC Backpacker. We're signing off for the Real Hard Money podcast, and we'll see you on the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. All right. And check out another video just waiting for you right there. Go click it. Go click it right now. Another video on the pod. Just go click it and we'll sign off. Take care.